Est-ce que quelqu'un a besoin de traduction en français? Quelqu'un peut traduire pour maïs, peut-être? Le quoi? So we are continuing discussing the 1000 Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, the face of Sri Krishna, and chapter 2, verse 21. Imadya tasmin karaniyam ashume yadatha tantro navihanti vikrama Triyaks vasur guru matya vadhor Triyaks vasur guru matya vadhor Yam Yashakshiyam muhantya nukavam ayuhu Imadya tasmin karaniyam ashume Yadatha tantro navihanti vikramam Triyaks vasur guru matya vadho Yashak sriyam hatyanukavam ayuhu
Kimadya tasmin kariniyam ashume Yadartha tantra navihanti vikramam Triyas vasur guru matya vadhoyam Yasha Shriyam Hantyanu
Adya tasmin karaniyam ashume. Yat artha tantrona vihanti vikramam. Striyah svasur gurumatya vadho ayam. Yasa shriyam hanti anukalam ayuhu.
Ready? Kimadya tasmin karaniyamashune Yadhartha tantrona vihanti vikramam Striyah svasur gurumatya vadoyam Yasha shriyam hanti anukalamayu Kimadya tasmin karaniyamashune Yadhartha tantrona vihanti vikramam Striyah svasur gurumatya vadoyam Yasha shriyam hanti anukalamayu Word by word translation. Kim. What? Adya. Now. Now immediately. Tasmin. In this situation. Karaniya. Is to be done. Ashu. Without delay. Me. My duty. Me. My duty. Yash. Because Atha Tantra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is always determined to protect the sadhus and kill the asadhus. Na, does not, Vihanti, give up, Vikramam, his prowess, Striyah, of a woman, Svasur, of my sister, Gurumatya, especially when she is pregnant, Vadha Ayam, the killing, Yashah, fame, Shriyam, opulence, Hanti, will vanquish, Anukalam, forever, Ayuh, and the duration of life. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhijana Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Kamsa thought, what is my duty now? The Supreme Lord, who knows his purpose, will not give up his prowess. Devaki is a woman, she is my sister, and moreover, she is now pregnant. If I kill her, my reputation, opulence, and duration of life will certainly be vanquished. Perfect. According to Vedic principles, a woman, a brahmana, an old man, a child, and a cow should never be killed. It appears that Kamsa, although a great enemy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was aware of the Vedic culture and conscious of the fact that the soul transmigrates from one body to another, and that one suffers in the next life according to the karmas of this life. Therefore, he was afraid of killing Devaki. Since she was a woman, she was his sister, and she was pregnant. A Kshatriya becomes famous by performing heroic acts. But what would be heroic about killing a woman who, while confined in his custody, was under his shelter? Therefore, he didn't want to act drastically by killing Devaki. Kamsa's enemy was within Devaki's womb, but killing an enemy in such a nascent state would not be an exhibition of prowess. According to Kshatriya rules, an enemy should be fought face to face and with proper weapons. Then, if the enemy is killed, the victor becomes famous. Kamsa very consciously deliberated upon these facts, and therefore refrained from killing Devaki, although he was completely confident that his enemy had already appeared within her womb. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnana Jnana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Savitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamanyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhuryevascha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I feel a little bit uncomfortable speaking in association with such an exalted Vaishnavas. Please, if you can give me your blessings, your benedictions, to serve you in the best way. So we are in New Mayapur, and every time when I come to New Mayapur, I'm so happy to be here. Although I know that this place always brings some purification first, and because Balaram is present here, especially for Balaram Purnim, it's always an experience of intense purification and then a release. And I've heard a nice comparison from my god brother, how it works. So when in Vrindavan, when they clean these sewage canals, so to clean it, they first block the previous, they block this canal, then they clean, and then they let it go. So in order to purify our heart, is this clear?
Yeah, it's okay.
So in order to purify our heart, Krishna also doing like this, the spiritual master Balaram, they intensify our anarthas, our shortcomings, and then at some level, the peak level, comes the relief when you understand, when you have to admit, yes, I have this anartha, this difficulty. So, and every time when I'm in New Mayapur, I'm going through this purification, and in the end it's always a blissful experience, and next time I'm also very happy to come back here. So, somehow I was given this verse to reflect on. It's about demonic nature, demonic mentality. So quite appropriate. So I want to ask you. So by reading this verse and this pervert, have you noticed something strange?
The demon is like looking at culture, at Vedic culture.
Yeah. Kamsa is concerned about dharma, about duty, concerned about his the dharma of Kshatriya, that he shouldn't fight, he shouldn't kill his enemy while he's an embryo. He should wait until he grows up and fight him like a real Kshatriya. Even though we know Kamsa, he's about to kill woman, he imprisoned his father, and what kind of dharma you can talk about in this case? And And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that it may happen even with the demon when there is an intense fear within, and it can manifest some kind of a godly way of thinking, but it's just a temporary manifestation. So, and I would like to elaborate on this demonic mentality. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna nicely describes how, what are the values of the demonic people, the person with demonic mentality. So, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16, verses 13 to 15. The demonic person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future, more and more. He is my enemy, and I have killed him, and my other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the richest man, surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices. I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. So this mentality, demonic mentality, is the consequence of the past sinful activities. When we do sin, I remember once I was distributing books, and somehow we started to talk about literature and talk about Dostoevsky. And I mentioned that I really like Dostoevsky, how he described in his book Crime and Punishment this suffering after committing a sin. And the person to whom I was speaking, he explained that this is actually already a punishment. When we commit a sin, then the reaction starts to manifest in our mind. We cannot stop thinking about it. And this is already hellish life. So the demonic mentality is the consequence of the sinful activities. And when we come to Krishna consciousness, it starts to manifest, it starts to come up on the surface. And we need to have a strategy how to deal with it. So today I would love to talk about the strategy, how to deal with the papa karma, the sinful reactions. So in the first step on this strategy, so first of all we need to have faith, shraddha. We need to boldly state to ourselves that I am not agree with such life. I am not agree with such mentality. I want to live in a different life. I was suffering so much from this sense gratification. Sense gratification it only gives me some expectation of happiness, but never gives me a full satisfaction. It brings me only suffering. But we know from Srimad Bhagavatam that Sabai Pamsah Paradano, Ayato Bhaktira Thokshuje, Ahaitu Kya Pratihata, Ahaitu Kya Pratihata, Yayat Suprasipiti, Ahaitu Kya Pratihata, only by doing service without interruption, unmotivated. Then we can have this satisfaction, the real happiness. And so this is the faith which we should start with. And once we have this determination that I want to change my life, I'm not agree with my material state of consciousness, should come, the second step should come the, how to say, raskayana, repentance? Repentance. Should come repentance. For so many births I'm in this material world, trying to enjoy different forms of life. And finally I have this opportunity to serve Krishna. So with this repentance, before we repent, we cannot really practice bhakti. And for this we need to have understanding what is actually righteous activities and sinful activities. We need to know the Shastric injunctions, we need to know the scriptures. We need to have Vyavasatmika Buddhi, the intelligence which is focused on the Sanatana Dharma. So to develop this consciousness, this intelligence, we need to know, we need to study Shastra, we need to serve Guru, we need to inquire him submissively, and then I can, by diminishing the influence of this material consciousness, I can feel the freedom, because now I'm following the consciousness and I see, well, I'm following the scriptures and I see where my mind doesn't want to follow, and I want to apply a conscious effort by doing what is pleasing to Krishna, to spiritual master, and not to myself. So for this we need the Dritha Vrata. It's the fourth step. We need to make a vow that I'm going to do only righteous activities. I want to commit only right deeds, do what is pleasing to devotees and Krishna. And this will bring some pain, because when I do what my mind doesn't want to do, it creates some pain. Yeah, pain which I need to learn how to tolerate. But it's not enough just to deal with the sinful, to work on these sinful propensities in our consciousness. Also, we need to cultivate the higher taste by doing the 9 angas of bhakti. And I would love to read one verse which nicely describes how powerful the bhakti is. We can use different techniques to diminish the influence of this sinful mentality, but the bhakti itself is so much powerful that it can destroy. So if you look at our consciousness as a mirror with different imprints, samskaras, different dents on this glad surface of the consciousness, bhakti is like it just inundates the whole mirror of consciousness with the nectar of the holy name, and it just makes it all flat and beautiful and shining. So the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 6-17 nicely describes the beauty, the powerful aspect of bhakti. Although one may neutralize the reactions of sinful life through austerity, charity, vows, and other such methods, these pious activities cannot uproot the material desires in one's heart. However, if one serves the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead, he is immediately freed from all such contaminations. Purport. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 11.242, Bhakti Pareshanubhava Viraktir Anyatra Cha. Devotional service is so powerful that one who performs devotional service is immediately free from all sinful desires. All desires within this material world are sinful because material desire means sense gratification, which always involves action that is more or less sinful. So this is regarding Paramdrispani Vartate, that not we are just trying to deal with our anarthas, but also we're trying to cultivate a positive aspect, the taste, spiritual taste, Paramdrispani Vartate. And the final step that we need to, because this body, this mind is the result of our previous sinful activities, we need to engage it in the service for purification. So we need to follow our dharma, engage our nature in the service. So instead of becoming an obstacle in our practice, it has to become favorable for our practice. We are trying to use it for Krishna's service. Also regarding Shastra, so what is the root cause of my material consciousness? Because since time immemorial I'm in this world, and what is the reason why we're in this world? First of all, it comes from avidya, the lie, the initial lie that I'm God. I'm trying to be God in this material world, and because there is other living entities who are trying to be God as well, therefore I start to compete. How come someone is more godly than me? So it comes, the Matsarya starts to appear, the envy. And envy is based on fault findings. I need to see faults in others in order to diminish their position. Therefore, I become more, like it's a artificial way of elevating yourself. How to deal with this is the remedy is the respect. Respect based on the free will of each devotee, that everyone has a will of choosing between being under the influence of the material energy or spiritual energy, and we should respect the choice of each devotee. Only based on that we can cooperate and move forward. And one more thing I would love to mention about. So we talked about some material consciousness, sinful reactions, etc. But also there should be some positive aspect. Recently I talked to Vachananda Prabhu, and he shared that there is some plans to have a beautiful lake on the premise. And I remember this past time how the Radhakunda lake was appeared, and there is also some aspect of fault findings when gopis were reproaching Shri Krishna that you killed a bull, you killed a cow, so now you're full of sin. You have to rectify. You have to repent and rectify your sin. But only way to do it is to bathe in all holy rivers in 3 worlds. And Krishna was not agree with such a condition, so instead of that he just put his heel in the ground and called all the holy rivers to appear in this little dent in the ground. So all the holy rivers appeared, and they asked, what shall we do? So he asked to manifest this beautiful Shamakund lake. But then he said to gopis that now you're sinful. I'm so pure. He took a bath in this kunda, and now he's pure. And how come you can talk to me? Like I cannot associate with you because now you're sinful. And then Radharani was not agreed with that as well. She asked to gopis to create a Radhakund. So they wanted to bring all the waters from Manasi Ganga to create a Radhakund. Instead of that, Krishna wanted to help them, and he asked the holy rivers from Shyamakund to come to the Radhakund. So this is basically what I wanted to mention about this verse. So we have quite a lot of time to discuss. I'm not really good at giving a lecture, but I feel much more comfortable when there is more questions. So I gave some shastra, so we can have some base to discuss. So Mataji, if you have a question.
I'm sorry, Prabhu, but I think you forgot to read the verse and the purport of the text. You did? It was very short, or I was sleeping?
Yeah.
Maybe I was sleeping.
The purport was quite short, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
You just spoke about envy,
Mm-hmm.
and you mentioned that fault finding kind of like shows someone's envy.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote down a question for myself. If one thinks that something can be improved for the better, to improve something, is that also considered fault finding? Or could it also be considered as fault finding?
Well, there is a difference between jealousy and envy. Like if I want to, if I see someone is better and I want to have the same qualities, but I want him to lose those qualities. You know, I want to become him,
Yeah.
and this is envy.
Okay.
But if I admire his qualities, and at the same time I don't want him to lose his qualities, and we want to grow together, then it's jealousy. It's not. It's acceptable.
Okay, but jealousy is not good either.
Mm-hmm.
Jealousy has a negative aspect. Yeah. But it can be engaged in the service. Well, envy cannot.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You spoke about righteous activities.
Mm-hmm.
So there are Vedic texts like Manusmriti and Brihaspati Niti Sara, Chanakya Niti Shastra. They all talk about righteous activities in the Vedic culture.
Mm-hmm.
But I've heard some devotees saying that they are not relevant to Vaishnavas, but some they say that they are still relevant and they quote Manusmriti. So what is your take on it? Are they still relevant?
I mean, it's a shastra. Yeah.
Shastra.
Why it's not relevant?
I don't know, because I've heard devotees saying that they're not relevant because we are Vaishnavas. So I don't know. Some of them say that they're not.
We are Vaishnavas, but it doesn't mean that we reject. I mean, it's Vedic shastras.
I just want to share a short extract from Krishna book which I found a couple of days ago. I think this paragraph is connected with Mataji's situation. This is from first chapter of Krishna book. A demon never cares for any good instruction. He is just like a determined thief. One can give him moral instruction, but it will not be effective. Similarly, those who are demoniac or atheistic by nature can hardly assimilate any good instructions, however authorized it may be. That is the difference between demigods and demons. And those who can accept good instructions and try to live their lives in that way are called demigods, and those who are unable to take such good instructions are called demons. You began with a quote from Bhagavad Gita about demoniac nature, and this is also very interesting how Srila Prabhupada defines who demons are.
Demons who are not accepting, those who are not accepting the will of God, and will of God is manifested in the Shastra.
You mentioned in the beginning that how in Vrindavan they clean the sewage canals, yeah? And I just wanted to ask for clarification, like I didn't quite understand how does the anarthas clean? That means like we when we notice them, or how does it work? Maybe you could explain it a little bit more.
So with the sewage, it's clear, right, that they, in order to clean, because it's always flowing, and to clean it, you need to block it first. It starts to accumulate, but meanwhile we can clean this part, and then you let it go, and then you move forward to the next part, right? So in order to clean part of my heart, so Krishna intensifies this anartha, it starts to be like so much revealed, so much prominent in the consciousness. And then suddenly comes the relief when it's unblocking it. But this part is cleansed, Not that maybe it's not the exact example, because we are cleaning one part and the intensification comes on the other side. But the idea is that in order to purify anartha, it has to be intensified first to reveal it on the surface. So and it's like step-by-step process. So okay, if I'm ready, if Krishna sees that I'm ready to let go of this anartha, he intensifies it, and it becomes so much on the surface, and then we are suffering so much that we cannot anymore tolerate it. Okay, Krishna, please take it away. I confess, I'm jealous, I'm envious, and then it came.
So basically, it's like, for example, Lord Indra, or Lord Brahma, when they were envy of Lord Krishna, it's like some kind of example how the anarthas can be very bright, yeah? Then the cleaning starts, yeah? Something like that, yes?
The examples of how when they got in trouble and went through all this, it's Bhagavatam is for that, to show these examples. Daksha, also a good example. Enviousness.
Okay.
Is that what you were asking?
Yes, yes, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the class. Does it also work for false ego, since it's the most subtle element of all the elements? Is it enough to just ask Krishna to reveal it and then we see it and then it's gone, or it's something that can really take a lifetime before we are over our false ego?
Well, so it's always a tricky moment to understand what is false ego. It's the combination, basically, of all our samskaras, desires, all together. So basically we have a chitta, it's the consciousness which around, let's say, soul, let's imagine a ball, gyatri, the knower, and there is a knowledge, a consciousness around. And certain sector of it is my consciousness for this lifespan. And we can say this is my false ego, all the accumulation of my desires, my beliefs, etc., etc. So, purifying a false ego basically it means to substitute all my material samskaras with spiritual samskaras. So I need to intend to practice spiritual life so intensely that all these spiritual samskaras destroys material ones. So I don't have any more material desires. Then if you come to the question of how quickly it may happen very quickly, as Srila Prabhupada said, like 7 minutes or something like this. Or 7 days.
3 days.
3 days, okay. But again, it was in the context of West Bengal, where everyone was in the culture. So for us, it will take much longer, because not for nothing we took birth in the Western world.
Yes.
How quickly we purify our consciousness, it depends on the level of sincerity, because we may have some clue that there is something in the heart, but I don't want to face it. I don't want to get into this dark spot. You know, I pretend that it doesn't there. It's not there. So there is an obstacle, and I face this obstacle as long as I'm trying to go away from it, or I'm trying to go around it. I don't want to face it. I don't want to elevate my consciousness, recognize it, accept it, elevate my consciousness, and then move forward. I will be stuck on this level. This is why for many, many lives we can practice without, advancement.
Thank you again. You mentioned in the beginning of the class that there's like some aspects of this anatta that we have some anattas inside of us, and at some point we just Krishna potentialized these anattas so we can be conscious of it, because it's sometimes so integrated with our daily lives that we even don't notice. And in this specific part, like how can we also make a very good quality sadhana so we can overcome this anatta when it's like in this intensified state?
Quality sadhana. Yeah, that's the beauty of path of bhakti, that it's not dependent on our efforts. Quality sadhana means to depend on Krishna and intensely pray for His mercy. Because after all, you need to come to understanding that myself I cannot. So, and it helps us to establish relationship with Krishna, to pray Him, to always ask Him to be merciful to this sinner, kind of in the Christian style. But you need to go through this repentance as well, to show Him that you regret this material propensity. And then when He sees our sincerity, then He will definitely respond. Krishna is very merciful. Where will I find such a merciful word?
And in addition to your words, that to make our development faster, we need to be in association of Vaishnavas who are more advanced than we are. And by their example and by their mercy, we can move much faster than by our own endeavors. That's the key point, good association.
Yeah.
Just to add something to it, we need some lavlyamas. We can be around devotees. But if you don't have the intense desire,
but this desire we are getting from advanced devotees, from advanced Vaishnavas.
Sure. The next step is there, but let me grab something.
Therefore we need the traveling brahmacharis visiting us.
Yeah. Stay longer.
Yes.
I don't really understand what is anartha. I would like to know if it's possible to
Oh,
understand.
yes,
But also another question is like, what is the best way, the quickest way to look for them? Like, how is the best way to recognize? Like, if it's a hardest step to recognize actually. Sometimes we don't have this information to work in, or perhaps we cannot see it, or we just lose it.
Yeah, that's us. Usually we don't look for them, they usually find us ourselves. Anartha. Artha means desirable, something which is favorable, the godly qualities. Anartha, which is undesirable, something which we want to get rid of. And how to see them? If you don't see them, that means they're not on the surface yet. it comes on the stage of anantanivritti. Before that, we need to have a shraddha first, the faith that my only goal in life is just to please Krishna, with the devotees of Krishna. Then we need to have association of devotees because we have this goal. We want to associate with devotees who have the same goal. And we start to serve them, trying to learn how to do devotional service. And when we do devotional service, then only under the guidance, then we can see that there is some obstacles in the heart which impedes me to do this service. Only then I can see. But if I don't have this goal, as my only dream, my cherished dream in the sacred corner of my heart, just to please Krishna, then so we should start from that first. Yeah. Then we will have questions: how to do it? What does it mean? What should I do for that? Yeah, basically, step-by-step process.
What about, what about if we do something or say something or think something that makes us feel bad or somebody else feel bad?
Mm-hmm.
Is that also not the way to find out, to discover?
Sorry, if you can clarify.
So if I say or do or think something and it makes somebody else, it could make somebody else feel bad or myself feel bad, is that not a way of trying to discover anarthas? I mean, if we all know we have them, then I try to look for them. They're not always visible, but
well, I can only say how I see it. Please correct me if I'm wrong. So definitely in association of devotees, we're getting purified. But first of all, we need to follow the process. We need to have a faith first. Sadhusanga meaning not just physical presence of devotees, but some guidance. Someone has to really take care after us and take responsibility after us and guide us. And then everything started to reveal. Because if we don't have this guidance, like Krishna will start to pull everything out, because there is no person who can help us. But if there is, he will start the process. And otherwise, it can be just on the level of the mind, and also we're trying to be better. We're trying to be friend of everyone, which is also desire to be God. Like Sukrinam Sarvabhutanam, I'm a friend of everyone. Krishna is a friend of everyone. I cannot have good relationship with everyone. It's Krishna's position. So, but again, it has to be under guidance. The person who knows you will tell you what's happening with you, because it's very individual. Each case has to be considered separately. Please, if someone can reply to this question, because I said what I thought.
I have one point that I want to make, that I think that we don't see our anahats because we are covered with envy and false ego all the time. So before we have purified ourselves, we just don't see it. So that's why the steps that he's describing is so important, because under the guidance of elders, that we can recognize that we are doing something wrong, and like step by step the false ego diminishing, and then we see, oh, this is the root of the anahata, and that's what I have to work. So I agree that it has to be gradual and with devotees, because without them there is no purifying process. So we still believe that we don't have any faults in us.
nice addition. Thank you.
Also, I want to add that it reminds me that in my country, in Argentina, we have also a concept about the concept is pinche tirano, which is like a person who is going to bothers you the most. So it's this person who is actually also one of your master. You should consider that this person is like someone who Krishna sent you to teach you actually a lot. So it's like when you are feeling that someone is going to bother you or someone is bothering you a lot, it's like you should also think, okay, this person is going to teach me a lot. I think this is correct because I've been practiced that, and in some way it's like you can transform a lot inside of you.
So yeah, it's a nice reminder that if somebody says something and I'm affected, I have some pain within, that means there is a disease. If my knee hurts, that means something is wrong. If nothing hurts, then there is no problem. So whenever someone is disturbing us, that's a sign that there's something to work on. And we can consider that person as a gift on our path to work on ourselves.
A blog post on anarthas has been written. I know Sachinandan Maharaj or Kadambakana Maharaj, they've written a detailed blog on, and in their diary, in the website, they've written a detailed blog long back on anarthas. But I don't remember it's Kadambakana or Sachinandan. Anybody knows, they can go and find out.
Okay. Few more minutes if someone. Maybe some positive points.
So I guess that is the importance living with sadhus more advanced than us, that because we see their perfect example and we can see then our anarthas, our mistakes and our dirt. It's easy to get rid of them then.
Yeah, absolutely. More the person is elevated, then more we feel uncomfortable with him.
Interestingly, recently Keshav Maharaj was here and he was quoting that, and then Vishaka Devaki Mataji was also quoting Ragunath Maharaj on the same subject, that actually it's very, very important to associate with the same level of devotees, because that's where the anartha gets the most friction and the most work on, because it's for any sincere devotee it's quite easy to surrender to a very elevated devotee and serve them, and we feel that actually we don't have any problem because it's easy, but then when we are with devotees on the same level as us, then we realize that we actually have a lot of things to work on. So, she was actually quoting, I think, Ragunath Maharaj saying that you should associate, I think, 60% of our time with same level devotees, and then 20% with juniors and 20% with seniors, so that we get inspiration, we give the knowledge, we transmit, but we actually work on ourselves the most. So it's also interesting.
Devaki Mataji gave a nice point about it, that we associate with seniors, with youngers, but the most purification happens in the relationship with peers, with equals, because there is no obligation to serve, or if there's senior, he's senior, I'm supposed to serve him, and if there's younger, well, I have to help him. But with peers, there is no obligation, and you can have a friendship, but you always want to be a little bit more elevated than him. The most subtle, subtle manifestation of this anartha start to manifest. We're friends, we're together, but I'm a little bit more senior than you. So this kind of things brings up even little remainings of these propensities to be God. Good point.
Thank you. Madhavananda Prabhu thought that you always should put your consciousness as a like servant of the servant of the servant, and you have to think that everybody have a little higher like experience or something, and it will be the right position.
I just want to make a short addition to this, just to perhaps bring a little bit of balance to the way how we get rid of the anarthas. Because in the chants of the Vyasadeva, it explained that anartha upashanam sakshat bhakti yoga tokshaji. So that means that all the anarthas they go away by the process of bhakti yoga. And it means that we should be engaged in the angas of devotional service. And one of which is the listening of Krishna Katha from the senior elevated Vaishnavas. So this is like what really brings the effect of getting rid of the anarthas. And we should keep in mind that it's not only about kind of balance of 20, 60-20, but it's about finding the source of the pure Krishna Katha and getting under the flow of the Krishna Katha. So, and this will be very, very effective, as well as being engaged in the other angas of devotional service.
It's hard to let go.
Because if we just associate with the peers and think that this is how we get rid of the anarthas, it might not have happened. Because if the pure association is not about Krishna, which can easily be, can be about eating something, I don't know, walking, having a prajalpa, because we have some, kind of common grounds to associate with, to build relationship on, material relationship on. So I think this is a very important thing to keep in mind.
Because bhakti, two first qualities of bhakti is kleshagni and shubhada. Kleshagni means purification. Shubhada means that it brings all the good qualities. But the reason is bhakti.
Yeah, we just read this verse, beautiful verse.
Bhaktir Parishanubhava Virati, you quoted from the purport. That's about
it. 242. Devotional service is so powerful that one who performs devotional service is immediately freed from all sinful desires.
But virakti means purification. Was put in a third place, third position. First one, bhakti and parayishanubhava. Bhakti, and in translation, bhakti means bhakti, and parayishanubhava means immediate and direct experience of God presence. And third is virakti. So first bhakti and then virakti.
So you can look at these verses like steps. And all we do this to achieve Krishna Prema, consciousness which is completely absorbed in the loving emotions towards Krishna. Because if you talk about anarthas only, we need not to forget the goal. Okay, so we should stop here. Radha Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Prabhupada ki Jai, Gaura Premanande.
Jai Rupa Ragunath Prabhu ki Jai.